first introduction to Crewe Theatre just 2 short months ago. July. She was shaken awake as the train shuddered to a halt at Platform 1, Crewe Station. As she stepped down from the train, Sally was overwhelmed by the size of the place. High above her, steel girders rose in Gothic splendour just like a cathedral. Her ears were bombarded with a cacophony of noise, engines grinding, whistles blowing, brakes screeching, and the endless rumble of humanity, a river of people flowing towards the exit, or breaking through to platforms to find their trains. Sally began to think she might have misjudged Crewe as just a town up north. The station, at least, seemed to be the centre of the universe. She joined the other passengers and was swept along to the exit and out to the taxi rank, where things were much calmer and quieter, thank goodness. She hailed a taxi and asked for the theatre. "Is it far?" she inquired, hoping the answer would be negative, as her finances were tight, to say the least. "No, lass, just up the hill, up in. You work in there?" asked the cab driver, looking at her in his driving mirror as she sat back in the seat. "I hope to be, yes," Sally replied shyly. "I've got an audition today, as a matter of fact, so fingers crossed." "Well, good luck to you, lass. You'll do just fine." No more than 5 minutes later, the taxi slowed and stopped outside a beautiful Victorian theatre. It shone like a beacon to Sally. No matter the street was a little shabby, and next door there was a very run-down Chinese takeaway. To Sally, it was the gateway to all her dreams. She paid the driver and thanked him for his good wishes, then got out and turned to the front doors. Putting down her suitcase, she pulled on the handle, only to discover that it was locked. She pressed her nose to the glass, shielding her eyes with her hand to peer into the darkness. There were no signs of life. "Great," sighed Sally. "Now what?" She looked up the street and was greeted by grey stone terraced houses and a stray dog checking out a lamppost. Stepping back from the entrance, she told herself, "There has to be a stage door round the back somewhere." Sure enough, she spotted an opening at the end of the front of the theatre building, so picking up her things, she set off to investigate. The gap proved to be a narrow alleyway, and halfway down was a battered sign hanging from the wall. "Stage door." With a sigh of relief, Sally pushed open the door and stepped into a dimly lit corridor. She ventured further in, expecting to meet a stage doorman, or woman for that matter. Hello? Anybody around?" she called out. There was a small kiosk with a sliding glass window and an empty chair. It was lit by a table lamp with a red silk shade, which had long since seen better days in someone's boudoir. Sally thought it looked very incongruous stuck in this little corner. A 2-bar electric fire was glowing gaily, and piles of newspapers lay on the floor, but nobody was there to answer her call. She followed her nose, and then the sign in big red letters painted on the wall leading down the stairs to the stage. Silence. The staircase wound round and down, and at the bottom there was a heavy wooden door. Sally pulled on the handle, opened it, and stepped into the almost darkness on stage. She could just make out a dim light in the far corner, presumably from the prompt corner. She tiptoed towards it, keeping an ear out for any sounds of life. She caught the odd word from someone whispering somewhere nearby, but could not quite make out who was talking. She moved between 2 black curtains and found herself right out on the stage. Suddenly, a light hit her between the eyes like a laser, and she was completely blinded for a few seconds. Sorry, she called out. "Is there someone there? My name is Sally Thomas, and I've come for an audition. Please take the light off me, as I can't see a thing." She moved towards the front of the stage, trying to get out of the spotlight, and peered out into the auditorium, but could see nothing because she still had spots in front of her eyes. Then, as her vision slowly adjusted, she felt a presence up to her left, and there, in the box, she could make out a figure standing just inside the doorway. There was a red glow.